Welcome back to the Nerdrotic channel. My name is Gary Beekler. I am live in San Francisco, California, and this is the Nerdrotic Nooner. Greetings, everybody. I hope you're having a very good Monday. If you're new to the channel, we do this every Monday, anytime between 10:30 and 1:30, depending on what happens last minute before I go on the air, including some work stuff. There's always something. There's always something. So today we're going to talk about a couple of things where I've only seen the headlines on. So we're going to go over it together for the first time, which is the Disney streaming service details. Dennis just posted that on our Facebook page. I think that's going to be interesting. We're all, hey, I got my notification. Awesome. 1 out of every 10, roughly, I get. So hopefully you got it too. Good morning, everybody. We'll get to you shortly in the chat. Also, in the title here is we are going to be doing a Star Trek Discovery lawsuit bump. Basically, me keeping it out there. I'm going to talk about one in particular thing in Doomcock's interview that really pissed me off over the weekend. I was going to do just a separate video on it, but I'm just going to talk about it here instead. Anis Abdin apparently was bullied quite a bit by CBS in their one meeting. And if you haven't seen Doomcock's interview with Anis Abdin, check out that video. I'll share a link shortly in the chat, and then it'll also be shared in the description when this turns into a video. And we'll also talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. It's kind of slow news day. There's also some Batman rumors that got shot down immediately, but I think it's pretty interesting that this got floated out there. And I'm always suspicious when names get floated out there. I always think it's the studio. I just go right to it's the studio doing this, running up the flagpole, see who salutes. So we'll talk about that as well. Hello, Movie Fanobi. I got your message. I will address that. You and Dakota had brought up, we're going to be talking about Jack Ryan on a Friday podcast, and I'll explain why. JP, David Hill. G'day, David Hill. I'm going to make sure you have your package within the next week, sir. You're winning. He won the Expanse Blu-rays. And Nigel, how are you? Mako, Feisty Fan, Mary Ashmead, Mecha Random, how are you? Hail Mecha Random, fellow tribunal member. That is great. Hopefully that, man, we did a great almost 5-hour live stream on Doomcock's channel Saturday night that got a freaking copyright strike because Doomcock is too good of a singer. So I guess that, it's kind of a backhanded compliment from YouTube, I guess. Hopefully that goes back up because it was a lot of fun. And we announced the tribunal, which I will talk about here. God, I should have put that in the title. I suck. But it's a Doomcock's thing. I kind of want to let him do the rolling out and stuff on that. So we'll just talk about it a little bit here. And yeah, we're getting some more people in here. And I'm going to get to the Facebook page. All right. Yeah. If you haven't checked out our Facebook page, it's the Nerdrotic Podcast. We also have a group, the Nerdrotic Podcast group. Go ahead and check that out too. Dennis runs those for me, and he does a great job. We just crossed over like 300 likes. We seem to, I remember when we were setting at like 50 likes forever, and things have kind of shot up. So that's rather good. And oh my God, it takes forever to load. People, fellow glasses wearers, don't you hate it when there's a smudge right before you're going to start your live stream? Geez. Okay. Got to be able to see. It's very important. It's very, very important. Okay. Where did that? There it is. There's the article. So we'll bring that. We're going to talk about Disney first because I'm curious about this. I heard it's going to cost a little less than Netflix, but they're going to have less on it. Netflix has quite the start on Disney, and I think it's going to be way more about how the platform performs more than content. Disney's old content. I'm going to go to a long thing about Disney today because I was in my drive home from the gym. I was pondering how much of we don't want. Brands used to not be associated to a demographic but they are now. That's something that actually Tom was talking about this on our live stream yesterday. I had a great. I was also on Midnight Edge channel yesterday. Please check that out. That was a fun live stream with Mecharandum and Tom and Rob, and it was an honor to be on that channel because I've been watching them for a long time. So I was really nervous before I got on. Had a lot of butterflies, and hopefully I didn't just bomb, but you never know. But I had a great time, and it was, that's 2 days in a row I got to talk to Mecha Random, and we hadn't actually spoken until Doomcock's live stream, and that was a lot of fun. Tamarok's Minister of Dark Magics says avocados for everybody, a $20 super chat. Thank you so much. What a great way to start the Nerdrotic Nooner. Thank you. And avocados for everybody. It's the food of the gods. Avocados, they truly are. So yeah, I completely lost my train of thought there. Disney, it's the way movies are marketed now, the modern marketing is based on demographic, and it seems like they're running against themselves, they being Hollywood, because they want to appeal to everybody, but you can't appeal to everybody if you're going for a demographic. I think you should specialize and go for demographics. I think that's kind of the way to go. Broad appeal as you go worldwide. Good luck with that. You're going to have to, and Hollywood, excuse me, feels like they have to dumb everything down because they think we're all a bunch of idiots. And that's why, the movies for the international audience are just like these schlock fests, of base explosions. I was wondering how much of a boys brand or a brand for men has Disney ever been? And I was thinking way back, and I'm all maybe in the 60s. That was before my time. But the only thing that appealed to me personally, I'm not the biggest Disney fan. I'll come out and say it right now. The only thing that appealed to me was Disneyland. I lived in Southern California, so I went there. There was a time we went there almost every weekend. In the 80s, it was kind of trashy, Disneyland, and there was gangs hanging out there and a bunch of punk rockers. And there was a time where if you had dyed hair or a mohawk or any kind of a punk rock haircut, you were shown the door. They kicked you out and banned you. Now there's ways to sneak in. You put a hat on or whatever, and then you go in there. There was a lot. It was a lot of partying going on. There used to be a nightclub there too. So yeah, that caused a lot of problems for them. But Disney has not always been like this king of media. It's always been behind a little bit. They had a resurgence in the 90s with their animated stuff, but again, as far as wanting to get into blockbusters and tentpole films, and before the Marvel universe, they were treading water. That John Carter, which I liked, didn't do well. Tron Legacy didn't do well. And that's what those movies kind of bombing, which I like both those movies, by the way, but those movies did bomb, led them to buy Marvel and then later to buy Star Wars, in their own words, to bring more men and boys back to Disney. But how successful has that really been? And I mean, you look at the money and the upfront, very successful. Marvel has been extremely successful and they've done everything right. But the future, I don't know if it's that bright for them. We did a couple of really old podcasts that you can dig around on our website, nerdrotic.com, to try to find. And I had to kind of talk Dennis into this because he wasn't feeling it. But I'm feeling a lot better about these now. And it was Star Wars versus Marvel, and how Disney might fall under the weight of these two franchises, because you have to continue producing good stuff that costs billions of dollars, and you have lots of money going out with. Now you're getting a lot of money coming in, but not that much if you have to reinvest billions every time you roll out one of these movies. And then you get an Ant-Man, which did okay. It's good that Ant-Man did better in China than Star Wars. How does that sound, people? That Ant-Man was I guess a straight up hit in China the last weekend, and Star Wars made like $24. So that's shocking. A comic book character and I've been, I was a professional in comics. I, retailed for 10 years. Okay, take a drink. And Ant-Man has never had a long-running comic series. He's been a sub-character. He's been a member of the Avengers. He's disappeared for long periods of time. He's had his name changed, Giant Man, Yellow Jacket, because it's hard to sell superheroes that get small. And with the concepts of Edgar Wright and what they did with the movie, they really made it look cool, something that the comics actually couldn't do. The film with Ant-Man, the movies actually achieve something the comics could never do, which was make Ant-Man kind of cool. Now, I was not the biggest fan of the last Ant-Man movie. I thought it was okay, but yeah. So we have Star Wars not performing in China, and now we have this streaming service. They can't even show the original trilogy until 2025 unless they work something out with TBS. This is going to be very interesting. And before I go to the article, I'm going to hit the chat a little bit. Oh, we got another super chat. Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey, what's up, man? How's it going? Not paraphrasing a song today. You might sing too well, and I don't want you getting claimed too. Yeah. Yeah, Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey, there is no danger of me ever singing a song good. I'll watch out. I'll try not to even say any lyrics. Yeah. And there is something going on with YouTube. Okay. And I'm not a person who complains about YouTube very much, as you guys can attest. I like what I do here. But every video that has had Star Trek Discovery and lawsuit, like this video got demonetized. Not asking for money. It's no big deal. I lose, like, if it's advertising money, it's pennies. Don't worry about it. But the reason I'm less worried about demonetization. It does affect how you're standing in things and how you get recommended. That is my only concern, is how the video gets out there and is recommended. I know these are live streams, but I'm also very conscious of like what they turn into videos later. And actually, the vast majority of people watch them later. So, and I would love for you all to be in here in the live chat, because we truly have one of the best chats on YouTube. And I love seeing the crossover from Doomcock's community and randoms. Sorry, I didn't mean to use that word, from our group, family, whatever you want to call it, but not community. And there's a lot of cool people coming over, and it's seeing some new faces. And Midnight's Edge, thank you all for sending over subs. I really appreciate that. Please, if you have not subscribed to Mecha Random 42, Dictor Van Doomcock Overlord DVD, and Midnight's Edge After Dark, and the mighty Midnight's Edge. That's a big channel. That's a good one. Andre runs that one, and Tom and Rob are over at Midnight's Edge After Dark. Good guys. I had a lot of fun. I mean, for a first live stream, I don't know how they felt about it. I felt great about it afterwards. I mean, I'm always worried I'm going to screw something up, but it was really easy to talk to them and random. It's like I've known them for years. So that was cool. That was really cool. You can add 3 hashtags to the description. That helps. Yeah, I'm going to start doing that. The thing is, you know what? And I know this about metadata. I've worked in metadata, that if I put in a title, that title is set. Now you can change it, and the change title will be searchable in YouTube. That's not a problem, but it's outside of YouTube. It's Google and cookies and all that. So once you set a title, the first title you set is pretty much it as far as anything off of YouTube, any search engine. Hey there, I followed you 3 way live followed your 3-way live stream yesterday, and I'm a bit sad that you didn't read my comments. However, I wanted to say Jenner knew when he created Starfleet. Okay, I'm sorry, Burnfred, I'm sorry, Burnfred Axwiller, that we didn't read your comments. I will read your comments here. I'm gonna get back, and I gotta pop out my chat. Yeah, it's, you know what? I'm a little, when I'm on somebody else's channel, I kind of, I got to let them lead with the comments, and they did a good job. It's that they get a lot more than I do in the chat. So it's right now we're at a really sweet spot where I can read the chat and stuff. So here we go. I'm going up to beginning while some of you are waiting. Is the irony is Disney's movies are mostly sexist and racist, judging by their own SJW point of view, especially the older ones. Every woman being a princess or an evil mother. Yeah. Oh my God, that's the argument. I love that Random made this argument a couple live streams ago, and this is an argument I have made too. It's like, hey, we didn't cast over the last 50, 60 years, we weren't doing the casting. We weren't doing the writing. We weren't doing the directing. It was you guys. So, I mean, the whole irony of being, I mean, it's projecting. You're projecting on the audience what you yourself, Hollywood, have been doing. Hollywood's insular, it's a bubble. And, maybe they do think the world is what Hollywood is, and it's not. The real world, of course, there's sexism and there's all kind of isms everywhere. All right. But it's not, Hollywood's like a microcosm of like the worst. I, just in my couple years working down there in post, people are treated horribly, but down there, bosses, you mean like yelling at people? Like, fortunately, I was never yelled at. I would never put up with the boss yelling at me. I had no job is that important to me. I would tell them to fuck off before they even finish their sentence. But I saw people getting dressed down, crying, and we were like making Blu-rays. We weren't curing cancer. There isn't a defibrillator flying out of our Nero Blu-ray burner. Saving lives. We're not, we're not, working on the next space mission or anything. We're making fucking Blu-rays of mostly shitty movies, yeah. So it wasn't worth all that much. But I saw some horrible treatment just where I worked at Technicolor. It was bad. So, so I think they project a lot of crap on us, and all of a sudden they think it's okay. And then they're surprised when we kind of bite back. So there you go. There you go. You're so right, Mako. Yeah, I always get nervous with new people. I'm so used to Tom and Doomcock on voice chats. Yeah, I'm getting with me and Doomcock, and I'm good with you now, Mecca. It just, you got to get through that first one. But as far as first ones go, that was really fun, and definitely check it out. Midnight's Edge. I love what they do over there. For one, that like they've got sources, they've got good information. They're the go-to when you want to get the details. If you want like a half-assed, unsolicited opinion, come to Nerdrotic. I don't know. Mecca's a little more well thought out than I am, but here's the honest truth. Here's the truth. Why do I have to say the honest truth? I'm at work 12 hours a day. I'm gone. So I pop in when I can. So like if I get 5 minutes between jobs, I'll pop on my phone, try to answer at least one Twitter message, one Facebook message, and go look at a post. And that's how much time I have. And then, I do a little bit, like if I'm at the gym, or like a half an hour before the show gets set up. But honestly, it was a slow news day today. But this is where, the chat is great. You guys save our ass every time. Occam's Razor says it is more likely that the copyright strike was brought on by a CBS fan than an actual holder of the song's IP. Philip A. Dimmick, great point. I wanted to point that out, that I heard that at VidCon, that anybody can put in a copyright strike. There's no real filter for that. The only threat that YouTube has over the person who puts the copyright is they will delete your channel if you put in a false copyright claim, and the person who got claimed can prove that. Because I know that I got a copyright claim on a Westworld we did, where I shared a frame of a picture of a map of a picture I found on Google. Okay, so that totally falls under fair use, I think. I didn't give the picture credit. That's what Susan pointed out. So that might have been my mistake. Fine, whatever. I don't care. And all they did was, like, any advertising money goes to whatever WBTV is. Looked up WBTV, and that's not really who owns Westworld. So I'm like, oh, so it could be kind of a scammy thing too. And yes, I noticed, we talked about this on the live stream, on Doomcock's live stream, that we're putting a bit of a target on our back, taking on big CBS. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to be influential in any way, shape, or form on that, but Doomcock's going to get out there, and Mecca, their videos are getting some traction. My video is doing pretty well. But when the season starts, that's when it's really going to ramp up. So right now, I think we're okay, but I wouldn't be surprised. And, I was warned by Mecca and others that we're going to have a little target. So you might see people popping up in the chat or on Twitter who are these rabid Star Trek Discovery fans. Like I saw one of my Twitter who said he just, and it wasn't that bad of a tweet. It was just LOL. You guys are totally reaching on this case. I don't see a case here, and I just went, I just shot him back a picture of what Anis Abdin had posted on his Twitter of all the similarities. And yeah, that enough said on that one, I think. Let me read some more chat, then we'll get to some of the title stuff. Brandon Branders, maybe some Pixar guys will defect and make some cool stuff. If Disney ends up able to buy Fox, they'll have one of the only game. They'll be one of the only games in town. Streaming wars could get very ugly. Very good point, Random. They are going to, I think they're ugly now. Amazon has been laying in wait. They've been quietly building their own network, a network that is almost equal to Netflix. People might disagree, but Jeff Bezos has more money than they do. And right now, it's almost like his streaming service is a hobby, that it's like something he's working on in his garage. And when he decides to take it very seriously, which I think he's close to, he brought in The Expanse, he brought in Lucifer. And I think if he brings in two shows that two other networks canceled and makes them like bigger hits than they already, Lucifer is popular. Okay. And so is The Expanse. But if he makes them like mega hits, that puts Amazon's streaming service on the map. They've already got a great foundation and platform. Not as good as Netflix. Netflix is running 4K on wireless that looks beautiful. So everybody's behind when it comes to that. Now, as far as content, that can be argued. But a lot of the Disney, a lot of these studios are relying on old content to do well. And it's like that content's been out there forever. There's Blu-ray, there's DVDs, there's VHSs. Honestly, I don't know how important the original trilogy is to Disney. I mean, people have seen that to death. That's honestly, Star Wars: A New Hope is kind of like Stairway to Heaven. It's a little overplayed. I mean, it's still great, but I can't listen to it anymore. So, and I'm really that way with Star Wars. Star Wars: A New Hope is just, God, this might be sacrilege. It's just, it's a classic movie that I don't need to ever see again, to be honest with you. I've seen it so many times, so I don't know how much they're relying on that for their streaming service. Gary, have you seen the animated Gary and His Demons? Seems kind of fitting for you. Stanley H. Tweedle. I have not, but I'll check it out. Yes, Gary and His Demons. I don't know how I should take that. Right. Let's just say that Walt Disney and Mel Gibson would have a lot to agree on, says Mako. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I had a family emergency, so I was hoping to listen to it after all, but it was already copyrighted. Oh, Tamarox, that's a bummer. I think he's got a case and it'll end up back up if he chooses to put it back up. I felt so bad for Doomcock. I saw that in the morning and yeah, Tom had messaged me and I'm like, oh no. Cause it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. That was the longest stream I've ever been on. I think we did one that was 4 hours, but that one was close to 5. And as punchy as I was, I thought it was okay. It took some weird turns. Took some pretty weird turns. Support your meat is one of them. Is it my imagination or are only a handful of studio and streaming services going to survive long term, says Liam Hodgetts. Not your imagination. I think it's gonna come down to like there'll be like a big 3, kind of like the networks, and then we'll have some minor ones out there. These things are expensive to keep going. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay, if I do miss something that you feel like I needed to read, make sure to @Nerdrotic channel. Don't be afraid to post it again. I don't mind. Just, sometimes I'll miss stuff and I don't mean to miss it. All right, I really do want to read your chat. Not ignoring you guys. I love that you're here. I really appreciate it. So Star Wars has never performed in China, Asia, in Asian countries that I am aware of, and trying to introduce an Asian character for broader appeal isn't the way to go. Also, a crappy character, says Movie Fanobi. Yes, which is really important to say. It's a crappy character. That's all you need to say. It wasn't a very good character, and it's not the actress's fault. She is there to do a job. She is given lines Now, how she performs outside of that and what she says to get attention, well, that's on her too. That is on her too. Yeah, part of the deal, I don't think anybody can argue this. Part of the deal with Hollywood is if you put yourself out there, if I put myself out there, if Random puts herself, Feisty puts herself out there and does videos, I am fully prepared for, you have a face I want to punch, which I've gotten more than once. So I'm like, really? Thanks. It's fine. I could make a couple of them happy that a couple people have actually succeeded in doing that. The Chinese have never seen nor liked Star Wars, so it's not surprising Marvel and Warcraft are popular. Yeah, I mean, they didn't. Yeah, it's all in context. Star Wars is still completely living off the nostalgia of that time, and it wasn't shown there. So, I mean, it's not their fault. You're coming in halfway through the story. And, even if you show the old ones there now, it's just going to look like an old movie to them. They're like, oh, what the hell is this? Um, no, Cameron, you did not. Cameron Pernwell says, hey, Gary, did I miss your Churn book review, or has not happened yet? That is going to be in within a week. Check out nerdrotic.com. I'll have it on the schedule within a week because I'm going to do a quick Churn one, and then I'm going to do Nemesis games. I really wanted to take my time with that one. That's my favorite Expanse book. I do Expanse book reviews. They're lots of fun. Distinct lack of paladins named Cabacen in a World of Warcraft movie. Was not impressed. I know nothing about World of Warcraft. I did know that Doug Jones directed it, and I like Doug Jones. But I haven't seen the movie yet, so I don't know if it was good or not. I was a Diablo fan. Does that count? Kind of. Back in the old days. I would have to say that Diablo kind of helped. I was at the end of my first marriage. Things were kind of dark, so I escaped to hell to Diablo. Played a lot of Diablo. Another Star Trek fan channel had to close down. Yeah, I heard that. Limac Ajax. Am I saying that right? Or Limac Ajax? Please correct me. And I'm gonna mess up your guys' name sometimes. Don't feel bad to correct me. I'm totally cool. I'm okay with that. Yeah, EC Henry got stricken again. Now Anti-Trekker reported that, the great Anti-Trekker. Good job. And yeah, we need to support people. Apparently, I didn't see any of his videos, so I don't know. Like maybe he put some too much copyright. Was he putting copyrighted material in? Was he showing actual stuff? That's why I don't do that. I mean, I'm kind of nervous about putting up news articles. But I don't play any music anymore. We used to be kind of produced. That's no. So I don't even show still frames from shows we cover anymore. Nothing. It's just us talking. I know it's kind of boring, but that way they can't copyright strike us. Yeah. So EC Henry got knocked down for a third time. What is CBS tactics to piss off everybody? Yes. Oh, I have no doubt it's CBS has some intern or something on YouTube. I don't know if the company can do anything to trigger the demonetization. I think that's just the YouTube algorithm. I think they just, I think the algorithm doesn't even look at the details. They can just figure out like, okay, they're mentioning a media property and there is a negative word associated to it. So like lawsuit. So we're going to automatically demonetize that. And then I can fight it. And usually it gets monetized within a couple hours. So it's not really big deal. But the thing is like, we're not super controversial here. Like Star Trek Discovery lawsuit is as controversial as we'll get. We don't talk about politics or any ideology or yeah. I mean, we'll dance around it a little bit, but we try to keep it kind of fun here. So sometimes they make it hard for us though. Hey there, I follow. Oh, okay, I already read that one. Damn it. So let's get down here. Brandon, yes. Diablo isometric rules. Oh my God. I love Diablo so much. And I like Diablo 2. And I didn't play Diablo 3. But By the time it came out, it took forever. I was running the comic shop and I had no time for video games. I had to read comic books. Stanley H. Tweedle says the WoW movie was not good. Poor Duncan Jones. It was Duncan Jones. Yeah, did I say Doug Jones? Sorry, Duncan Jones. I will try to listen to Logan about his games. It's hard, but I want to be interested in what he is interested in, says Mary. That's a good mom. But watching video games is pretty much, I would rather watch grass grow. I don't mind playing them, but watching other people play them is not really my idea of fun. There are games with fantastic stories at Mary Ashmead. Yeah, I mean that's what really got me into Diablo, is just the background, and it was really fun to play. I never use more than a screenshot, and even then I get scared about photos, says Mecca. Yeah, me too. Ever since I got nailed for sharing a picture from Google. And I know a little bit about fair use, and a lot of people, fair use is not as open as people think they are. I see a lot of YouTube channels, and I'm not going to point that out so I don't get in trouble, like that break fair use all the time. And they're ones I enjoy and love, but it's only a matter of time until they, piss people off. So for as critical as people get of YouTube, it's really, for lack of a better term, random on who they decide to pick on. Because there's other channels that do, they're showing there's a big channel out there who shows like full trailers and doesn't get busted. So I don't understand. It's probably just because that guy has 1 million subscribers and we don't. I actually got a strike on a vlog stream I did a few months ago before I switched formats. It got cleared up really quickly, but I was stressed for a few days. Yeah. Random. I got rid of a bunch of my old videos that I quite liked. They didn't get a bunch of views, but as the channel gets bigger, more people might dig deeper and look at our older stuff just to have a laugh, because it is pretty funny. But I had to get rid of a lot of that stuff because there was things that if they want to dig, they can get me on. Westworld was doing that. Somebody definitely involved with Westworld after we did our last stream, and I kind of turned on the show because it didn't have a good ending at all, and it kind of pissed me off. And after that, all of a sudden I started getting little strikes on my old Westworld stuff, so I just got rid of it. I don't know, has the chat stopped? Are we still going? Somebody press a button. I saw it. Has the chat stopped? Diablo 2 still has archive servers on BattleNet, says Eric Hawk. That is cool. That is cool. Let me see how my stream's doing. Okay, everything's doing okay. I'm going to get this article up too. Sorry for the silence there. I am getting this article up, and then I got to find the chat because I saw it. So I saw somebody say, has the chat stopped? So that's kind of concerning to me, but let me get this up first. Hopefully it has not. There we go. There we go. It's going. Active. Thank you. Cool. Okay, here we go with the Disney thing. I'll do the Star Trek thing next of what particularly pissed me off. The Netflix effect across the entertainment business has taken root in deep and meaningful ways this year. The turmoil caused by Netflix meteoric rise is all that the media moguls talk about the last few months during their annual conclave at the Allen and Company conference in Sun Valley, Idaho. Lovely Sun Valley, Idaho. Good skiing there, good summer vacation, lots of Mormons, pretty country, right near where Mary Ashmead is. Just look at the state of our business, one prominent CEO observed. The equal parts fear and wonder in his voice. There's a lot of fear. By the way, I interject a lot in this stuff. So the direct-to-consumer streaming video business model refined by Netflix is the reason Disney and Comcast chased 21st Century Fox with such fervor. It was a big part of AT&T's motivation for swooping in up on Time Warner. It marks the biggest shift of entertainment industry economics in decades, and it is the evolution largely driven by a company that has that in the original content business was for barely 6 years. Yeah, so they've only been producing stuff for 6 years. And let's think about Netflix has changed two industries. Now the direct market industry, they wiped out Blockbuster. They have evolved properly, and just in their evolution, they have done what so many companies are way late and might not survive this. And yes, Netflix should be the model for that. Now, Netflix has had the great fortune of surviving two .com bubbles and living largely off investor money because the company is valued. I mean, it's valued more than Disney and Comcast combined at this point. So that's something to think about. So as we see Disney ruling the world, and quite frankly, that's because of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's not Star Wars anymore. Believe me, when Episode 9 comes out, you will see. Yeah, Netflix, and it's funny that they don't bring up Amazon. Amazon's down here, so they're good. Yeah. Trying to play catch up with Netflix, the largest U.S. media conglomerates are bent on reinventing part of their operations as a direct-to-consumer business model. The industry's biggest content producers aim to tap into efficiency of streaming video via the internet to build proprietary pipelines. Woo, that's a mouthful. Into America's living rooms, laptops, tablets, and smartphones. The modern media company must develop extensive direct-to-consumer relationships. AT&T Chairman CEO Randall Stevenson told investors last month, "We think pure wholesale business models for media companies will be really tough to sustain over time." You think? Traditional media conglomerates feel the urgency to act now out of fear that Amazon, Facebook, Apple, and Google are also busy crafting global content platforms that will dwarf their operations. It's no surprise that Disney, the world's biggest media company, is leading the race among Hollywood's old guard to catch up with Netflix at all. Disney Chairman CEO Bob Iger calls the planned launch of a suite of DTC services the biggest priority of the companies during the calendar year of 2009. And to reread this, the modern media company must develop extensive direct-to-consumer relationships. We think pure wholesale business models for media companies will be really tough to sustain over time. Yeah. In other words, you can't rely on theaters anymore. You're going to start seeing blockbusters going, direct. They wanted to do this way back with the first Transformer movies. They wanted to do a pay-per-view. It was supposed to be $50, and the movie theaters squashed that. And they should have done this a long time ago. And it sucks because a lot of big movie theater chains are probably gonna end up crapping out over this. We're still gonna have like the smaller ones and the mom and pop ones, which almost is gonna be better. I mean, there won't be as many, but I don't know. I kind of like that idea. In a world awash in streaming video, Disney no longer needs to rely on Comcast and DirecTV and or international distributors to deliver it. TV shows and post theatrical movies. Netflix eliminated middlemen distributors, slashed the monthly price compared to cable for a robust content package, and made all of its content available 24/7 in a commercial-free on-demand format. Yeah. And again, Comcast and all the cable companies could have done this years ago. So no sympathy. I have no sympathy, especially since you raised our prices arbitrarily forever. And you know what? You reap what you sow, buddy. But with any historic shift, change won't come easily or cheaply. To build their own platforms, Disney and AT&T and others will have to invest billions of dollars in high-end content while at the same time forging much of it into traditional licensing revenue that would have commanded by selling rights to third-party networks and distributors. And I'm gonna try to get down here and see, because I heard they buried in all this word salad is somewhere is the price. Oh, there we go. The industry's traditional media companies have been experimenting with DTC options for the past few years. CBS surprised skeptics by making a go of it with CBS All Access streaming service, which blends live feeds of CBS programming and original series, including the new Star Trek and The Good Wife and The Good Fight. And growing roster of original CBS All Access won't rival Netflix growth, but there's enough demand to generate more than 2.5 million subscribers to date. Tom had mentioned on his live stream that might have been the initial number. I don't know if they have that right now. Maybe, but 2.5 million worldwide, that's not good enough. It's not. From the business model perspective, it's really the holy grail for us, says some CBS Corp person. The highest margin consumers we have are CBS All Access subscribers. Consumers are demanding content on the go and at the click of a button, and they're willing to pay a fee for it. Well, not too much. Hulu has also evolved in the past decade from a catch-up service to a previous night's TV shows to a consumer platform coveted by Disney, which poised to take a majority control of Hulu. It's $71.3 billion purchase of Fox assets. That's important. Hulu is decent. It's got a good show called Castle Rock on it right now. Oh my God, if I don't find it in here, I'll just okay. So Netflix it's charging $12. I don't know. I'm paying $14 for Netflix. I don't know what you guys are paying. They're talking about Netflix prices. I don't want to read this whole damn thing. So I just heard Disney's going to be cheaper. It'll probably start out cheaper. The problem is they want to roll out 3 streaming services. So they're going to have Hulu, and they're going to have Disney, and I forgot there was another one out there. And I don't know if Fox is going to be separate. The word on the street was Disney was going to be $20, but I guess they're going to make it cheaper. I don't know. What have you guys heard? But the last thing I heard was, 3 streaming services. Our old co-host John actually worked on it. He worked on some of the metadata for that. So getting back to the chat here. Disney, the thing is, it's just going to be cable. We've said this over and over again. We're going to have to get so many goddamn streaming services. We're going to end up paying as much as we did for cable. So I think it's going to have to go beyond that. I think it's going to have to go a la carte. I think somebody along the lines will come out and start selling stuff individually, and that's the way to go. Plus, I'm going to go back to this article, and I'm just going to search the word YouTube and see if they mention that at all, because that's kind of important. So we go to our little search, YouTube. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Yep, YouTube is not mentioned once in this article. Big mistake. Big mistake. Do not count out YouTube. And not enough people talk about YouTube. More people are coming here for their entertainment, just to watch live streamers. And yeah, if that's something that isn't even get brought up, then they're missing a big piece of this equation. Is YouTube. Forget what the parents are watching, because we fade out eventually because parents get old and die. We have kids. And what are the kids watching? I have kids. I'll tell you what, my kids don't watch TV. They don't watch any of the stuff I cover or watch. They watch what's on YouTube. Thank you, Movie Fanobi, for sharing the Patreon. I appreciate that. Let's get up here, back to the chat. It is okay. That's a good, right? Where Eric says active. Today is a good day to press the button, TM, says Tamrex. All right. Listening in. Nice. Thank you, Sailing Coconut. Mako. Actually, Blizzard is very similar to Netflix with World of Warcraft, where they were the first to introduce subscription-based game and are still the titan of the industry. Yes, BattleNet's ancient. God bless BattleNet. Oh, damn, 91 watchers? Well, I might have knocked some off. Wow, 95. Holy crap. Welcome, everybody. I loved Westworld Season 2, says Silver Spike, and that's okay. If they would have ended it a little differently, I would have loved it too. It did have the best episode of the series, Silver Spike. Episode 7. That was with Aki. Oh, that one was good. I noticed a pattern a little bit, Silver Spike. I don't know if you watched Castle Rock, Westworld, and American Gods are formatted the same. And case in point, episode 7. They all have an episode 7 that centers around a sub character that had somehow been largely greater to the plot. So they focus that episode on that one, B character, and you find out that B character was actually an A character. So they did that with Aki. They did that with Ruth Deaver and Chris in Castle Rock. And in American Gods, I'm blanking on her name. They did it with Shadow's wife. And yeah, and all three of those shows, and they're great shows. They're formatted very similarly, I thought. But that's how it happens when you watch too much TV. You start seeing, similarities. And patterns, man. Okay, maybe I should break out my tinfoil hat. Yeah, don't forget to lick that button. And Stanley says the button tastes kind of salty. Well, what's on your button, Stanley? Not judging here. We don't judge here. I have appeared on panels for other channel streams that get attacked and false strikes routinely. I really hate the gamer troll types and the ones who use those tactics. Yeah. Or other YouTubers, Persian Scribe. Other YouTubers have been flagging other YouTubers. That was kind of a thing last week. Only 31 likes. Yeah, don't forget to lick that button, everybody. What's up, Tim F? How you doing? Are you going to do Farscape vids? That's one of my favorites, asked Matthew Matson. I'm glad you asked that, Matthew. Yes, we are. That is coming up again within the next 10 days. Our Farscape Season 1. Feisty Fan's going to join us. We're trying to get another person to join us. That's what I'm kind of waiting on right now. But yes, keep an eye on nerdrotic.com. We absolutely are going to cover Farscape. It is such a good show. And part of the fun with that is I had never seen it. So I was kind of a Farscape virgin. So you got to see me kind of, go through it for the first time. And I could have hated it, and that's part of the reason I stayed away was puppets, but I got over that pretty quick. So. And again, I will repeat the similarities between Guardians of the Galaxy and Farscape are it's good. It's a good homage. Nigel says, I don't think WoW was the first online subscription game. I don't know if they were or not, but they might have been. They were one of the first. I honestly don't know if Netflix was the first subscription service. I think they might have been, but there might have been some smaller one that didn't make it that I have never heard of. Or are we neglecting Movie Finobi? Movie Finobi is never neglected, ever. Going through the chat. Comics. Did I miss something, Lamac, about the comic? You said comics, not cartoons, but maybe I missed a chat back there. Mecca, backing up a little bit, Mecca says, some people don't understand fair use and is only for parody, review, and educational purposes. Using a song for an intro clip doesn't fall into fair use. Absolutely not. There is some ways around that, like morning radio shows. Mecca have been able to use songs against the people have come out and said, like, don't use our song. But if it's on, I don't know, I guess the same rules don't apply for radio than they do for YouTube, because if you play less than a certain amount of a song, then it's perfectly okay. But I don't know if that's good for YouTube, but you're absolutely right. Yeah. Playing for parody or for review purposes only. And that being said, you can only show certain things for certain amount of times. Now, for songs, there's a ways around the YouTube algorithm. I think you pump up this. I probably shouldn't say. There's ways around the algorithm. Saquist super chat $5. Thank you. We have the power. Don't buy anything but Netflix and Amazon Prime. Damn straight. We do. And we talked about that. Mecca and Tom and even Doomcock has talked about that is the power of the wallet. Habitual buying. I am guilty of it as anybody. I have felt like I needed to buy something or watch something just to complete the series. I'm a completionist. I'm a collector, and it's going against my nature to not see the end of something like Spider-Man 3. God, I even defended it at the time, but I knew in my heart it was going to be bad. It looked bad, and that's something I probably should have skipped. And talking to Doomcock, he hadn't seen Blade Runner 2049 because he didn't want to ruin the Blade Runner experience, and I admire him for that. I wish I'd have done that because I didn't like Blade. I know a lot of people liked it. I didn't like it, but there's a lot. Like another sequel to a classic movie that should have never been made is The Two Jakes. Chinatown. I don't know if some of you might not even have heard of it because it kind of flopped. It was directed by Jack Nicholson. It's a direct sequel to Chinatown, and it's terrible. And it actually, takes away a little bit from the enjoyment of the original. Another $10 super chat from Saquist. We are the future, Charles, not them. They no longer matter. Nice X-Men reference there. Yes. Yes. Nice. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Very generous. And Feisty Fan, $4.99. Movie Finobi said we had a Farscape Season 1 recap on 9/2 on Sunday. I can't do Sunday streams due to work. We might have to move that to Monday, but the thing is, we'll talk about that. Scheduling is getting harder and harder. Scheduling is getting harder and harder because I could only do stuff Sundays and Mondays and late in the evening. And, it sucks. A lot of you guys are on the East Coast or Central time zone. I'm on the West Coast. So I get home from work and it's 10 o'clock your time. So that makes it a little tough. But we'll have to work something out. What's up, a brown comic book reader? How's it going? Haven't seen you in a while. Where you been? Lane Bachelor. How are you, Lane Bachelor? Good to see you. Hunky Chucky Funky Monkey subscriber numbers and whether the creators are being critical or positive play a huge part in what YouTube do. FFS, they flag Klingon Federation War as a problem. Yes. I'm wondering. I'm really curious to why E.C. Henry got stricken down his channel, but YouTube will never say, and they don't ever have to say. But have you guys noticed that YouTube has really been changing their act since Twitch came around? So that's why I love Twitch. I don't know if I'll ever go over there, but it's forced YouTube to do stuff, bring back stuff they used to do. And there's a big survey they gave to creators recently, asking us, how we feel about, certain pay formats and other very interesting things that could lead to some positive changes. They're just, they're a slow monolith sometimes. Getting back up to trying to catch up. Again, if I miss something, go ahead and repeat. Is there anything more disgusting than corporate bullying, says Burnfred Axe Wielder? No. And I think it's a great time to roll into the thing that particularly pissed me off from that lawsuit. And also, I just want to keep talking about it. I reached out to Susan. Susan is our co-host for Friday Night, and she actually writes for websites. So she's in the know about some of this stuff. And I asked her, I said, why do you think, without, getting her in trouble or anything, why do you think nobody's covering the Star Trek Discovery lawsuit? And I think she gave a pretty clear answer on this. CBS is really trying to keep this thing hushed up, or B, which could be just as likely that news, they don't feel that news would get enough traction. I will put the additional thing on this, that I think it's not worth the trouble they'll get for the amount of clicks they'll get. I think that is very believable why some of the bigger websites and Hollywood Reporters and Deadlines haven't reported on this, because they have reported on less. They have reported on weaker cases all the time. So I think it's very strange that like in a slow news week, you don't bring this up. So during Doomcock's interview, he asks about the meeting they had. So Anis Abdin, who by all accounts is a nice guy, just trying to make a game, take care of his mom and dad. And who, his dad has Parkinson's. He's a caregiver right now, and plus working full-time work. That is insanely hard. So his creative outlet is his game. That's how he gets some joy in his life, and I can't even imagine how crappy it is seeing your game out there in a TV show and just knowing in the back of your head that like it is impossible to take on CBS, but I'm going to do it anyway. So brass balls on him. Hell yeah, I back him 100%. And he hasn't asked for a dime of money or anything. He's just asked for support. And I think that's the least we can do. So in the interview, they talk about the only meeting they had. It was a Skype meeting, and it wasn't a negotiation at all. It was basically, hey, we'll not use the tardigrade anymore. Which, it's so generous of CBS to say that, since they wrote the tardigrade out of the story and you don't need it anymore. So fuck them on that one. And then they said, we promise not to sue you. And I know you guys have heard some of that, and some of you guys haven't heard that. Yes, I will repeat. CBS promised not to sue Anis Abdin for them stealing, allegedly, his shit. Fuck you, CBS. Fuck you. So that fucking pissed me off. Sorry for cussing. Some of you might be at work, but it pissed me off, and I've stayed pissed. And usually, like entertainment news doesn't really piss me off. It irritates me. I have a pretty decent life, so I don't let Star Wars sucking ruin my day or anything. I mean, it's something to definitely fight for and something I care about. But listen, let's have some perspective a little bit. That pissed me off. So, and I mentioned it a Midnight's Edge, and I just want to keep it out there that, show your support for him. I mean, I'm not telling you what to do. If you guys want to take shots at CBS, go for it. But it'd probably be best to show our support in like a classy as manner as possible. Right after I just told "fuck you" to CBS, but I'm a hypocrite. What the fuck? But but show your support. Yeah, I got a thank you message. So did Random, and from him, and which is really nice. I thought it was really nice because I was worried. Once you get the message, you're like, maybe he's like going, dude, stay the fuck out of my business, which he'd have every right to do, but he thanked us. So, that was nice. I thought it was cool. And we will continue to support you, Anis Abdin, through and come what may, what Doomcock says. So, when your game is finished, if we can direct as many people as possible to your game, let's do that. Support the game. It's a fun point and click game, like kind of old school, and the kind I could play. So, yeah, and yeah, there's the whole David versus Goliath factor to it, and everybody loves an underdog. I do, and I hope he absolutely destroys them, or at least comes out. I hope he comes out happy. That's really all I want. It's not going to kill Star Trek Discovery, but it sure gives it another black eye. And the longer CBS lets this go without taking care of them, I'm not going to let it go. I might not do a video every day on it, but I'll keep it out there as much as I can. And I'm sure the other members of the tribunal will do as well. I have faith in my tribunal. I do. Our tribunal. It's not mine. It does not belong. I am a part. It's team. There's no I in team. But there is a me. Yeah. So as announced, if you haven't heard, there's a tribunal. The tribunal is Mecha Random, Tom from Midnight's Edge After Dark, myself, and our liege, Lord Dictor Van Doomcock. He will be the head tribunal member. It's gonna have a format. I think it's gonna be weekly, bi-weekly. We'll see. We're in the early stages. If Random knows anything else, she could definitely add to that. And it's gonna be, most importantly, it's gonna be fun. It sounds freaking awesome. Like I again honored to be part of it, and I definitely think like if there's what thing doesn't belong here, it's probably me and us here. Not the chat, you guys belong, but me. Yeah. So I think it's cool as hell. Fucking Mary. Fuck that. What jerks? Yeah. Jerks. Sons of bitches. Yeah. Ed Brewer, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Rated R, Gary. Remember when fuck you should be just PG-13 or just PG? CBS Bully Boy says Lane Bachelor. Yeah, I mean, that was the biggest fuck you ever. So I admire Anis Abdin's patience, or Anas Abdin's patience. Um, and better man than me. I would have fucking gone off right there in the office. My lawyer would have had to drag me out. I'd be all, fuck you, buddy. I would have quoted the Great Blue Velvet. Fuck you, you fucking fuck. CBS eats shit for breakfast. They want us to join, says Movie Fanobi. Yeah. Well, hopefully they'll be eating some shit and some crow shit after this. Um, there's no I in Gary. Oh God, Mako says Tribunal was a pantheon of gods in Morrowind. Coincidence? I think not. Coincidence. I really have no idea why I'm involved in this, to be honest. Mecca. Oh, such modesty. We know why you're involved. If you listen to your own ladies' night live stream. I don't know, Mecca. Do you go back and listen to your podcast? It's hard, but it's really good for notes, for taking notes and finding out things you can improve or you'd like to improve. There's some things that are just really set in that I can't change, but yeah, go back and listen to your ladies' night. That's why you're there. Passion, knowledge. You are a true nerd. That's it. You know your shit. That's why you're there. And an internet connection and a microphone. That's why I think I'm there. uh, I wish the Expanse did a similar lawsuit in terms of stealing the looks, traits, and um, other tone of their characters by the Mary Sue of the STD. Yeah, if we could just sue people for Mary Sueism, I don't know. Another thing I want to point out, which I didn't know until Doomcock's interview, was forget the similarities in look between Mikey Spock and the main character, one of the main characters of the Tardigrades game. Let's go into the fact that she was treasonous. That plot point alone, and she's wearing like this yellowy, brownish, yellowy jumpsuit, which looks a lot like the prison jumpsuit Mikey Spock is wearing in the beginning of season 1. There's a lot of things that make you just go, remember that song, Things That Make You Go, yeah. Legion of Doomcock or Nerds of the Round Table? All of the above. We are really stuck on the Tribunal name. That was, I forgot who, Doomcock had mentioned it was in his chat. I like it too. It really fits with the aesthetic. Penn Farm Girl. Great question. Also named in the lawsuit is Netflix, which they cannot be happy about. Like one of their, it's not even a show they're directly involved in. They do fund some of Star Trek Discovery, I believe, but they don't run it. And to have something that they are not directly involved in giving this kind of blowback, I'm sure there have been meetings. I'm sure there's a TPS memo and a guy going, yeah, did you read the TPS memo? Did you get the memo? Is there any is there any chance that Netflix will punish CBS over the STD fiasco? Asked Penn Farm Girl. I think quietly. I don't think most of the stuff we're not going to find out. Be honest with you, it'll be quiet. It might be quiet from here on out. Anas has done what he needed to do, and it got it out there. I think this might, I hope not, but it might fade away for a little while. But when season 2 ramps back up, believe me, you'll start hearing Anas Abdin again, Axanar, Star Trek continues, anything fan related that CBS tried to squash. They really screwed this up from the beginning. Sorry, sometimes I get caught because I'm just trying to read the chat. Sometimes there's crosstalk, but sometimes crosstalk is worth reading. I'm pretty sure Netflix was named and can definitely countersue CBS for all the development money, says Movie Finobi. I agree with that, Movie Finobi. Um, but I don't know how it works with laws. Like, can they countersue after they get sued or during the lawsuit? Or I have no idea how that works. Uh, I think one of us really needs to get an IP attorney on. I used to know one. Haven't talked to him in a long time. I could reach out maybe. Um, Pretty damn good one. But if you guys know somebody, maybe we should get somebody who could answer some of these questions. I think that would be kind of fascinating. And maybe Midnight's Edge is already on that. They probably already are. I would like to see what STD didn't steal. It almost feels like the whole Star Trek name, in my opinion, says Jay Sitch. Yes. Um, yes. It feels like CBS just stole Star Trek. And as Mecca has said, Star Trek Discovery looks more like tardigrades than Star Trek. Mary says, I love that line. F you, you F and F. Yes, I had a t-shirt. Uh, my first wife hated it. But who in the writing room stuff found that tardigrades game pre or post Fuller? So asks Lamac Ajax. That's the question. He's been working on it for years. It could be. It could. Okay, this is just a scenario. Not saying this has happened. So maybe um, they wanted to use the mycelia network, the spore drive or whatever. They all based it off of, they probably saw, like Joe Rogan or somebody talk to the real Paul Stamets and decided to, or maybe, Brian Fuller's really into mushrooms or something like that. And DMT, and, went on a trip and decided I'm going to, base Star Trek around this trip I had. I went down and got some ayahuasca or whatever and, plotted out Star Trek. But I want to involve that cute little tardigrade thing, that I saw too somehow. So somebody in the writer's room Googles tardigrade and this game pops up. They think this game is super obscure. Maybe at the time it was just like being, just shot out there. And they borrow a couple ideas to make themselves look good in the writer room because they're coming up with shit for ideas. Um, some people are forced to do this stuff. Some people maybe just don't feel like they're creative enough, so they need to borrow from people, and they do. This happens all the time. We never hear about most of it. So that's a possible scenario how that could have happened. Is that worth the lawsuit? I don't know. But as Midnight Edge pointed out, they're going to blame this on Fuller. He's going to be your fall guy. But if Fuller has receipts, like proof of how he came up with it and stuff, he could countersue them. And he's probably got dirt on them. This could get super ugly or nothing could happen. I'm not really sure. Movie for nobody. I am too. Still curious why CBS STD lawsuit is still so quiet. Maybe they will settle, but I wish some of the bigger trades will pick it up. Me too. Somebody did pick it up. A small little blog picked it up. It's out there. You can find it on Google. So there are smaller places picking it up now. Good. Keep it going. But I think the silence is deafening from Deadline and the Hollywood Reporter. I could see Deadline not reporting on it, thinking it's not enough click. Hollywood Reporter does not have such qualms. Hello, Grady Broyles. How are you? If it's happening in the U.S., would they still be subject to or if it's happening in the U.S., would they still be subject to U.S. laws or outside the U.S.? Are you saying, just saying? Uh, there is an international copyright law that's all agreed on within European countries. I don't know about everywhere, but there are laws that the international copyright laws are very similar to the U.S. copyright laws. So if it happens, if stuff is produced outside the U.S., but if it's produced outside, but you're selling it in the U.S., it falls under copyright laws in the U.S. You have to abide by those. Just so I missed this part, is CBS pinning it on the producers? They CBS has not said a peep yet. The only thing they have said officially to Anas Abdin in his meeting per Doomcock's interview was, "We'll get rid of the tardigrade and we won't sue you." That's the only words we've gotten on this from CBS. There's been no official statement, and I don't think there will be. Well, I bet the tardigrade story stuff will not be evolving anymore. Most likely, they will forget it in season 2 in a way, and forget actually address the. In a way, they forgot to actually address the Klingon War, right, Jason? Totally. We're just gonna forget season 1 happened. I mean, they're on their third set of writers, Jay. So yeah, I can see that happening. Mufinovi Netflix should hire the Tardigrade's creator, develop a movie series, sue CBS, and then take that money to produce it. That'd be funny. That'd be funny. Why mess up your relationship with CBS over a little money? I'm sure they said the same thing about Weinstein when the woman came out with the accusations. Yep. Oh, you know what? That's a great point, Mako. They were quiet about Weinstein for a couple days, weren't they? I remember that. YouTube was all over it, and that's why you need to come here. I mean, not just here, but YouTube and Twitter are instant. All right. So yeah, you got to do some fact checking, but if you hear more than one person popping off about it, definitely, like, I don't know, you get a little bit of news from Twitter. If you want to get some real details, you go to YouTube, you hear somebody talking about it, then you check it out and see what happens. It's no wonder STD steals from everywhere. I watched the first unveil of their hero ship, and it was hushed Ralph McQuarrie. It was a hushed Ralph McQuarrie starship that was rejected in 70s. Oh, from 70s Paramount. Yes, says Burnfred Axwilder. Yes, their new ship was just a Ralph McQuarrie. Ralph McQuarrie is awesome, by the way. The way copyright is enforced internationally is determined by trade agreements, basically. Yes. I think the case is clear. The game was announced and shown years earlier. They had to change Star Trek to look like the game. And Brian Fuller had a tardigrade as a crew member. Ah, that's right. That is right. So they're going to try to muscle the poor kid. What scum company? What a scum company, says Just Saying. Yep, it's a scummy move. The Brian Fuller idea was very different, says Mecca. Okay, good. I wonder who is behind the recent firings of the showrunners, asked JP. I wonder if this is behind the recent. It might. Yeah, that's a good point. I think that's part of it. I think they probably sucked, but yeah, they could have been for sure. There was a Klingon war. Wait, those were Klingons? Says Black Robin 71. No, they actually weren't. They were Klingorks. That's funny. It's funny. A super chat from James O'Neill. £5. First time in the chat. Big hello from Ireland. Heard the new Big Trouble in Little China movie is not a remake. Any thoughts? Oh, so they're gonna. Is it James? By the way, thank you for this $5 super chat. It is great to see you in the chat. It was asked in our stream last night, is there any properties out there that you don't want to see touched or remade or sequel of? And I forgot to mention Big Trouble in Little China is one of my favorite all-time movies that hasn't been touched. So it is not going to be a remake. It's a sequel. Is it still going to have The Rock in it, James? I want it left alone. I just want that movie left alone. I want to just only see Big Trouble in Little China. I adore that movie so much. It is so fun. It's got everything I like in it. It holds up to this day. Great soundtrack. John Carpenter. I mean, I love that movie so much. Some of the best quotes ever, you know. I only drive as far as I can see. Or what was the fuck it. As my last wife says. Ralph McQuarrie design from the 70s purpose Star Trek movie, Planet of the Titans. It is the design of Discovery. Yes, the Starship Discovery. Yeah, they used Ralph McQuarrie's old design. I don't think they passed it off as new, but I think that's a good like case in point that like, hey, they have borrowed a lot. And you know what? They had 50 years of shit they could have borrowed from that they own outright. But no, they decided to steal something new. And I think that could have, there is a lot of people involved in the creative process. So it could, and that's, they'll find some fall guy. Uh, 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 I don't know fully about the Grady. I don't know the fuller concept. What Random mentioned as tardigrade was going to be a part of the crew. Um, I think they left a lot of fuller stuff in. Honestly, it felt so disjointed. Grady. I mean, I don't know if you saw the first season all the way through, but there was so many just plopped in elements that didn't really fit. It was weird. It was weird. You could tell that the creator of the show left and they were just trying to put band-aids on the script. But I don't know what the fuller concept was. I remember at the time looking for it and I couldn't find anything, but that was like a year ago. So maybe something's out there now. Hope he sues them to oblivion. They had 1 year to respond and didn't. You would never get away with that if it was reversed. Bleed the SOB company, destroying Trek anyway, right? Vapor N. Vapor N. Welcome, Vapor N. Top of the evening. All right, going through some chat here. Nihilist Shadow, good to see you. Did they have legal problems with the Discovery design from the beginning because of the Ralph McQuarrie design? Yeah, some people were bringing that up. I don't know if was there legal problems with that too. Dang, that I didn't know. They had to change the look after the ship was originally revealed in the trailer. Oh yeah, that might have something to do with the maybe movie rights because they own. Yeah, the rights are so confusing. So the Kelvin stuff has to be different. I know that. Um, Paramount has rights to distribute what the Kelvin and I guess the original movies. I don't know if CBS has any access to the original Star Trek movies, but they own all of the original canon from the original series. So I don't know, but the Ralph McQuarrie design that was for what you said Star Trek. It was supposed the movie that didn't happen that led to the motion picture. Is everybody following that at home? Grady Bro says Romancing the Stone cannot be made again either. Yeah, no, good luck with that. That is a movie of its time. It's a great movie, by the way. Love that movie. B. Cluette says, oh no, not Big Trouble. Same, leave it be. Big Trouble does have a couple novel sequels. Yes, Random, it also has a comic that's actually pretty good. Hands off Big Trouble in Little China. Damn straight, David Fox. I could make a Big Trouble in Little China sequel. I have a great idea. No. I wonder why are they now in season 2 trying to steal the Orville's elevator alien joke, says Jason. That is a good question. Oh, that's another case in point. There's a lot of evidence of previous theft and current theft. Yep. A lot of borrowing from this show. Good point. The Wiz cannot be remade. No. The Wiz. How many out there saw The Wiz? How many of you that old? Michael Jackson, Diana Ross, Wizard of Oz movie. Ease on down the road. Come on. They added the Stargate spinning in the saucer, so that is new. Might be they stole the Macquarie and then stole the video game maker for the Stargate. Best thieves around, allegedly, says Mako. I love John Carpenter. Just watched Prince of Darkness last night, actually, says Brandon Branders. Ah, fine movie. Good movie. I don't not like anything by John Carpenter. I like all I there's even uh even Escape from LA. I even love Escape from LA. Peter Fonda. Have you bought the Art of the Venture Brothers book? It's a thing of beauty. If you look right, see where I'm pointing right there? Black Robin 71. There it is. It's in that cabinet. See that skull? That's the book. I bought one for Viking. We got it at Comic Con, and indeed it is, and it's cheap. So I think it's on Amazon now. Black Robin. It is. I think it's going to be available soon. Or if it's not available right now, it's $39. It's a book about this thick. It's huge. It's worth every penny. My God, the Venture Brothers is good. Takes 2 years off. Doesn't miss a beat. And I love that people are, well, some people are digging our recaps and some people are not, but it's getting a lot of engagement. So that's good. Some things to be need to be left alone. Great movie, says Mary Ashmead. I completely agree. James O'Neill. Think The Rock is still involved, but he's not playing Jack Burton. Good. I don't mind The Rock being involved. I like The Rock. Okay, I like Dwayne Johnson. No problem with him at all. If they if John Carpenter comes back and directs it, I don't know. Does he still direct stuff? I don't know. I'm checking his IMDb real quick. His last really? What? He wrote a Stranger Things? I did not know that. That is crazy. How did I not know that? No, because I wasn't paying attention. Uh I'm sorry, went silent. I'm looking at John Carpenter's IMDb. So he wrote an episode of Stranger Things. Chapter 7. Oh no, really is the one I didn't like. No. I like it now. Shit. God damn, I'm such a hypocrite. And there's a Christine video short out there from 2017. How did I not know about this? Oh my God. I am a bad YouTuber. Fucking punish me. Put me on a timeout. Take back the super chats. I suck. Yeah, Black Robin. I bought there was two it was Thursday at Comic-Con, so there was 3 days to go, and there was the last two. I bought the last two. The writers of STD said they added the Mirror Universe storyline after Fuller left. So it's a complete mess, a Frankenstein of a story, says Mako. Yeah, that's kind of what I heard. So yeah, they added because I can't. Fuller used to write for Star Trek. I have a lot of respect for Fuller. He leaves projects and stuff, but American Gods was fucking great. Okay, so I don't think he would have done something that. And honestly, the Mirror Universe stuff was. Sorry, I'm shaking the table. You're making y'all sick. The Mirror Universe stuff, while being the better stuff of a giant piece of crap. Bad Gary threatens Gary with a rolled up newspaper. I know. God damn. How did I fucking not know that? Doesn't John Carpenter do kind of darker movies? I'm pretty sure you know who that is. Yes, he does. But I didn't know he wrote an episode of Stranger Things. That's something I think I would have caught. Fuller wrote for Voyager, and Voyager never had the Mirror Universe, says Mako. Yep. Don't tell him it's really a cast iron frying pan. What's up, Silver Spike? What is up? Oh, I know. Time out for Gary for not fucking knowing John Carpenter wrote a Stranger Things. I would love for him to come back and do, like, I don't know. If they come back and do a sequel for Big Trouble in Little China, if they do it like goddamn, for every 15 ones we get, for every 15 we get one good one. Okay, so we get an Ash versus Evil Dead, and then we get or Cobra Kai, but those are the outliers. I would rather they just left it alone, to be honest with you, just completely left it alone. I love Stranger Things too. The seventh episode was kind of, come on, season two was not as good as season one. It was still good, but it wasn't as good as season one. And that's why, you know what, they even admitted it. They're taking more time. It's going to come out later. It has been delayed, as with many other shows. It's still really good though. Uh Jane Molten, yeah, Enterprise is okay. Deep Space Nine has like become my favorite over time. It's the one I rewatch the most. Writing credits: Matt Duffer, the Duffer Brothers, Ross Duffer as Duffer, Justin Doble, Justin and Jackson Packy, staff writer. Here, then why does it say this? Oh, okay. See, I wasn't paying attention. It's soundtracks. So he did. Oh, he probably got some credit for doing the soundtracks. Why does that pop up first? I want to see his writer. Bum, bum, bum. Yeah, that was my bad. There we go. The last thing he did. There we go. Let's go to director. My God, he's got so many credits. It's crazy. So yeah, so the last thing he directed was the Christine short film, which I still didn't know about, and a video short for Escape from New York, The Ward, 2010. So he's probably in retirement. Good for him. Ghost of Mars, which I like. Okay. Vampires, I like that one too. Uh, oh, come on. In the Mouth of Madness. That is a great movie, folks. In the Mouth of Madness. Silver Spike, 100% agree. The worst Stranger Things is still head and shoulders above most other shows. I'll add most other shows. Um, could not agree more. I mean, come on, let's like a show that gets good performances out of like all their kids. What? That never happens ever, ever. It got close. Mouth of Madness is one of the most underrated horror movies ever, says JP. Absolutely. 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 Voyager, DS9, Enterprise, The Next Generation, Orville, Disco, TOS, Disco. Is that your order of how much, or is that? I hope that's. I wouldn't put that order, but that's okay, Nigel. That's right. I spoke to Nigel on our Patreon live stream. Nigel's awesome, by the way. It's great to be. Um, and that's cool. We all have our different favorite Star Treks. Mine changes. So, if you ask me in the 90s, the Next Generation was the greatest thing since sliced bread. Then a little later, it was back to the original series. Then it's not right now, it's DS9, but I always fall back to the original series. You always remember your first. You do. Imagine watching the Next Generation while Worf would look like an orc that they made the Klingons now. Yeah, that would be terrible. Jar Carpenter needs to direct an episode of STD. Oh no. Okay, I'm gonna try to pronounce this name. Sidious Nile. Sidious Nile. I don't know. Help me out with that one. In the meantime, we're just gonna say Sidious between friends here. Um, you wound me, Sidious. Putting those impossible choices. Uh, well, yeah, Nigel, we're all making plans for Nigel. He must be happy. He must be happy in his world. Yeah, Nigel's never heard that before, I'm sure. John Carpenter seems to have retired from directing, but Doug, all I had to do was say John Carpenter, and I was like, Doug's going to be here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Love you, man. John Carpenter seems to have retired from directing, but is putting our albums of instrumental music on tour. Saw him in San Francisco last year. Yeah, I can't believe I missed that. Yeah, they're reprinting a bunch of his. There's a Christine reprint of the soundtrack, like a blue vinyl or something like that I forgot to buy at Lose Records when I was down at Comic Con. Yes, I was listening to his soundtrack like yesterday in the gym. I just love his soundtracks. Oh yeah, thank you. B. Cluette, be careful singing. Stop singing. They'll get a copyright strike. I know. Sing Freebird. Oh, I got it. I got one right, everybody. I got one right. Wow. Broken clock is right twice a day. A blind squirrel gets an acorn once in a while. Dakota Stanton, how are you? Just pre-ordered the crowdfunding DS9 documentary. DS9 is my nerd spinach. Damn straight. There's a crowdfunded documentary, huh? Cool. I'll check it out. Oh my fucking god. Nurkish is in my what are you What's up, Nurkish? What is Star Trek Discovery? It's the greatest show ever. You should check it out immediately. I think you'd really like it. Uh what the fuck? What's up, Nurkish? What is going on? I find a lot from the 60s and 70s hard to watch, Star Wars and Forbidden Planet being exceptions. Shit's old. I mean, yeah, it's hard to hear that as an old guy, but the shit's old. I've tried to show Star Wars to my younger kid. He likes it. He's like, it's okay. It's okay. He's all it's no Spider-Man. Spider-Man's his jam. And right now he's reading I Am Legend. So I've said that in it. What's Star Trek Discovery? Fucking Nurkish. Wow. That'll throw me off. Holy crap, Nurkish is here. Yeah, Nurkish. One of the high council members and all around. Nurkish is funny. uh, is DS9 Farscape? No. DS9 is Babylon 5. DS9 is Babylon 5. Farscape is Guardians of the Galaxy. Get it straight. Applecrow says Blake 7. I'd still need to check out Blake 7. Have not done that. Of course you don't know. Nurkish. Nurkish is a poser. No, I'm just kidding. I miss Farscape, says Black Robin 7. So do many people. And that is we're gonna see Viking Bitch in about within, I'd say, a minute. Because Farscape was mentioned. I don't think STD knows what it is. Says Silver Spike. Gary, how could you do that? DS9 is not Babylon 5. No, I'm just kidding. That'll trigger Dennis, though. Dennis gets triggered on the whole Babylon 5 Star Trek Discovery thing. Is Babylon 5 the one, the Muppets? Yes. No, Farscape's the one with the puppets. Kind of like Babylon 5. Once you hear that, I show up, says random. Yeah. What makes me show up? I don't know. A lot of things. Good, thanks. STD is an advertisement for penicillin. Yes, James Hayes, we need to be the fanicillin for the STD. I know it's really on the nose and terrible, but there, I said it. There. Only 51 likes. Lick that button. Hello, at Nurkish. How are you? how the heck? How the heck is Cecil? I love. Don't you love that, Nurkish? Every time you show up, somebody asks about Cecil. Nurkish and Cecil are like the variety show members of the YouTube community. They are, like the Paul Lynn. The Hollywood Squares are like the Paul Lynn, and but a little more funny. Very edgy, those guys. Is Rigel a Muppet? Yes, he is. Rigel is a Muppet, and we like Rigel. Uh, your God is nowhere. The first episodes of Lex beat all. Yeah, thank you. Avocados make me show up. Avocados. Dakota Stat, any news on tardigrades? The no news is good news, Dakota. I talked about it earlier. We're just trying to do a bump for the lawsuit. It's bullshit, but they tried to bully him. It's a Doomcock's interview. They tried to threaten. They basically said, we're not going to sue you if you basically we'll not use the tardigrade anymore, and we promise not to sue you. That was their negotiation with them. So fuck CBS. They're going to get what they get. We'll see what happens. I'm not going to shut up about it though. Hail all things. Oh, sorry. Excuse me. It's almost the top of the hour, so we got to say hail Doomcock and Star Trek Discovery sucks. Um, yes, I hate Cecil. uh, Babylon 5 now with extra tardigrades. There you go. Sidious Nile, Nurkish and Cecil are the Stadler and Waldorf of YouTube. Yes. Hail Doomcock. All hail Doomcock. Wonder what he's doing. He's down there in the center of the earth working on his robots. Oh, it's coffee time. Hang on. I need some Pete's. Burn Fred Axfielder at Nurkish and at Nerdrotic channel. Lex was the first show where I got a boner from the main actress. Then they changed her. It sucks since then. And I'll add this: no more boners. Yes. Okay. Now I know why you like that show so much. And that makes sense. It really does. Hail Doomcock or Hape. It's all right, but don't hate. And remember to support your meat. I wonder if we can get an STD from butt chugging. I imagine you could. It depends on how you do that. That is a reference. Actually, Dennis started that. That's usually the kind of shit I start, but yeah. It's a pastime here in San Francisco. It's, kind of happens all the time. Jin Moulton asked, does anybody remember Defying Gravity? Series, it did fall flat on its face, sadly. I didn't even, when did it come out? Never heard of it. He replaced Random, possibly. Who will he replace next? Asked Penn Farmgirl. Maybe I've been replaced. Or I don't know if you guys watched the, what was it? Not the last Venture Brothers episode, but the one before that. When it was the Blue Morpho trilogy, and you find out the Blue Morpho had been morphed into a robot. And when Z got a hold of him, he morphed him into an evil robot by changing the good button to the bad button on the back. That's simply all Doomcock needs to do. Sorry, geeking out on season 3 B5 theme tune. There's nothing to apologize for. It's cool. Uh, the movie Finobi, Monday Nooner is all about nerd boners. And that could be a female boner too, I guess. Raise your hand in the air if you've been replaced by a pod person yet, or just hit F. It's okay. We won't tell. How many of you think the DC streaming service will take before they leave altogether and go back to selling it on other streaming services? My guess is 2 years, says Sean Full Dark. I think it's going to be like that with a lot of streaming services. I think a lot of them are going to have to bow back down to Netflix or Amazon or Disney when they're like, you can come to Hulu. If Ryan Johnson replaced you on this podcast, that would subvert my expectations completely. Just saying, says Mako. Well, Ryan Johnson certainly has a rounder head than I do. Mine's pointy. He's directed more movies than I have. He's only directed one good movie better than I could direct. Seeing that I've directed none, but I've directed one, but you'll never see it. There was you guys all I've talked about it, the 48-hour movie challenge where you have to write a script, complete it, get the actors, shoot it, and edit it in 48 hours. I did one of those. It's out there on the internet, but I will not direct anybody to it. It's pretty bad. Star Trek Discovery, our last best chance to annoy fans. All Alone in the Night. Now with extra free plagiarism, says Nigel Savage. Yes. More plagiarism in season 2. Hail or Heil. Ooh, does not seem so different to me. It creeped me out in the Lord of the Rings movies too. Stanley H. Tweedle. Gary, what if the DC streaming service came with some digital subscriptions to comics? It does. You get comics on it, Apple Crow. That is part of it. I don't know if it's like I don't know like what you get. I don't know like how many comics you get subscriptions to, but it's gonna be something like that. And that'll be part of the app. He has a perfectly round head, the poor round-headed bastard. I want to cue Doomcock doing the Charlie Brown music, which is pretty damn funny. CBS lately makes some agreement with Amazon to share with them subs. I mean, the Amazon Showtime or whatever is the name Amazon service. Yeah, Showman Frost, I heard something about that. Now that Star Trek Discovery is on Amazon, is it streaming on Amazon here? So, yeah, it gets murky, doesn't it? So the streaming rights internationally are with Netflix. Here, there might be with Amazon, kind of like what Amazon was doing with The Expanse. And honestly, Amazon is better than promoting shows than, Sci-Fi was. More people know The Expanse is on Amazon than Sci-Fi. I was running into people saying, I thought it was always on Amazon. So I was asked by Movie Finobi, because we're on our Friday night podcast, we're going to be talking about Jack Ryan, and Dakota asked too. No, I am not going normie on you guys. Okay. I promise. I mean, I'm, we're just going to cover it as part of we're doing our experimental summer where we're just trying to figure out some other TV shows to cover. Cause a lot of the stuff we cover, which is mostly genre, is been delayed. That's why I decided to cover Better Call Saul. And that falls under, it's written by an X-Files guy. So, but that's about as normie as we're going to get. We're not going to do we're not going to start, doing, CSI or shit like that. Don't worry. Not happening. Your God is Nowhere. I just canceled my HBO. Yeah. Did you see that trailer they just came out with? Your God is Nowhere, with the 2 seconds of new Game of Thrones footage mixed in with mostly old Game of Thrones footage. And then you saw all the other shows they're coming out with. And I was like, oh, no wonder why they're fundamentally changing HBO, because everything else looked like shit. Like I would, and then they didn't even put in the Watchmen stuff, which is probably going to suck too. But everything else looked terrible. I was like, oh God. Um, you got everybody going to your network for Game of Thrones, which is, dark fantasy. And then everything else you make, they're they're doing a show on a podcast. And it's not even like an interesting podcast. It's just a political podcast. It's like, with a bunch of little millennials. And yeah, it just what happened to HBO? God damn. Uh so by the way, what is your opinion on the possibility of the new animated Star Trek? If Kurtzman is involved, I have no faith in it at all. If it's other people, I mean, I'll check it out. It's Star Trek, so I will definitely give Star Trek a chance, but I will not continue to support bad Star Trek. That's why we get continued bad Star Trek. But I would check it out, J Sitch. Uh, and like who's animating it, and what universe is it in? Is it a Star Trek Discovery spinoff? Yeah. Thank you, Movie Fanobi. Again, our moderator, Movie Fanobi, is sharing our Patreon. Go check out my Patreon. There's 3 levels. There's $1, $5, $15, and I give you stuff. You get stuff because you don't get a ton of content. I don't have time for a ton of content. And he's probably gone because like I'm way too boring for him. But thanks for popping in, Nurkish. It's good to see you. I am a fan. I am a fan. He must have been. um, HBO usually makes one fantastic show per decade. Sopranos, The Wire, Game of Thrones. They'll make another fantastic show in the 2020s, Mako. That's a good point, Mako. But they always had like at least another show, but then they cancel it too soon. Like Rome, they'll cancel after 2 seasons. Deadwood, but at least Deadwood's coming back as a movie. I wish they would have like do episodes, like have like a 5, give us 5 episodes or something, not just a movie. But at least we're getting something. All right. And that stuff I'll cover. Like talk about the normie thing, like True Detective. I'm gonna cover that. I love season 1. Season 2 kind of sucked, but season 3 looks brilliant. So I'm gonna check it out. Jim Moulton, Game of Thrones, you could really feel when they got ahead of the story from Martin. It basically sucks now and lives only from the moment to the earlier seasons. Yes, Jin, I it breaks my heart to say that and agree with you, but I totally agree. When they got past the George R. R. Martin, it was still watchable. Last season, I've only seen it once, and this is a show I used to watch the seasons over and over again. And look at me, I habitually bought season 1 in 4K when I probably shouldn't. But yeah, it's a shadow of its former self. And it sucks to say that. And there's people out there who vehemently disagree with me. But I've read the books multiple times. I've watched that show multiple times. It is a different show now than when it started. It is doing things. It set up basic rules that it broke almost every rule this last season. And it was starting to break them earlier on, but it was subtle. This one, they just said, it's clear that creators want to get it over with. And they're going to regret that to their dying day. HBO is going to regret it. Dan and Dave are going to regret it that they didn't take the extra time to maybe give us a couple more seasons, maybe waited for George, or maybe taken the time to write something a little that made a little more sense, and stayed with it a little longer for the legacy of Game of Thrones. And then it could have gone down as an absolute classic and people would have rewatched it forever and it would have been the pinnacle of television. And now it's going to be known for what a great start. And it just went on too long. And that's going to hurt George's legacy too. And as a creative person, you really want to think about your legacy. You do. I mean, if you don't give a fuck, fine. But I can't see people who create stuff and want their name out there for attention. They want people to read their stuff for a reason. I can't see them not giving a shit about their legacy. I think that might actually be the most important thing to them. Your legacy, George, is going to be of not finishing, and when you could have, like Robert Jordan, unfortunately, he got sick and died. So, George, you're healthy. You have time to finish. I hope you do. It's not porn, it's HBO. So, yeah, I was equal a fan of the books and the show, and now I'm just a book fan. I mean, the books are great. Even his story that's kind of gone off the rails, it's still really entertaining and better than most people can write. So, I was never into Game of Thrones. Don't know why. And maybe just not into fantasy. Silver Spike. Some people just, yeah, Dennis wasn't into it either. But I kind of feel the same way. Like I watched Walking Dead and liked the comics and stuff, but I never fully got into that show. I never understood why people dug such a drab show. But it's just personal taste. That's all. I mean, it had some good seasons, but it kept losing me. I was trying to watch Fear the Walking Dead the other night, and it's just like, God, there's no color in this show. Yeah. If Tarantino ever makes a Star Trek movie, do you think he'll go with the old school original series Klingons? Personally, I miss the goatees. Sidious Nile. Yes. I think that'll be part of the problem he'll end up, having with Paramount is he'll probably want to go full old school. Like I could see Tarantino wanting to use old school sets. I mean, that's where he lives. And that's why I don't think Tarantino thing will ever happen because he's going to if they let him make a movie on its own that doesn't fit in any universe or let him pick what universe he wants it. Like I want this to be an original series TV show and then firmly fit it into that aesthetic, like right down to the 60s sets. Oh, fuck yeah. I'd watch that and then make it rated R. Hell yeah. That would be great. That would be brilliant. They're not going to let that happen though. That'd be too cool. The reason we get cool movies, the reason we get like a Deadpool, um, and we got more of these movies in the past, we discussed in our 5-hour live stream that nobody listened to, and this has been said in a million other places, is the people in charge with all the money. There was a time where they didn't pay attention. They just said, I don't know. It's kind of like what's going on with Silicon Valley now. Again, the investors are throwing money at a bunch of shit that they don't really understand and hoping for the best. That's what movies were like in the 60s, 70s, 80s. You had these executives who didn't know dick and they just threw movies out and we got a lot of experimentation. We got a lot of flops, but then we also got some gems that shit we're never going to get anymore because there's too much marketing research. The executives think they are all they think they're all creatives now. Like if somebody becomes a head of a studio, and they're good at maybe picking out talent, but all of a sudden they start thinking they're creatively talented when they're actually just good at politics and money. That's why we're not going to get as many gems like that. That's why we got a Deadpool because it was the one time Fox just didn't pay attention. They gave him $70 million and said, go. And we got a Deadpool. And we will not get another Deadpool for another 10 years. And I mean a movie, not like exactly like Deadpool, but like a surprise, blockbuster hit that makes a gazillion dollars that's rated R that's left to, just to do whatever the fuck it wants. And then Deadpool 2 happens. What happens? There's a little more studio involvement. It starts becoming self-aware. And while it's still a good movie, it's nowhere near the first one. $10 super chat. Wow. From Tamarix, Minister of Dark Magic's fellow minister. Hail Tamarix. At least Robert Jordan had a great author. Brandon Sanderson finished up a series for us fans. Don't think Martin will do that. He's actually said he wasn't going to do that, which is dickish because there are a couple people, James, Ty Frank and Abrams, who are James S.A. Corey, could do it. The people who did the World of Ice and Fire book, who work on I forgot the name of the website. I forgive me. They could do it. I mean, they wrote most of that book, which is great. Which is great. So thank you for the $10 super chat. I really appreciate it, Tamrocks, and hail Tamrocks. Yep, loved Jordan's Wheel of Time series. Yeah, and at least he let somebody else finish it, and that's cool. And that's cool. It's accountants thinking their ideas mean, sadly. Yes, Silver Spike. Yes, it's the marketing and the accountants that have really fucked everything up. They fuck up the creative process. You need them, all right, but there's always got to be like a fine balance between the money guys and the creatives. You can't let the creatives run amok. Marvel Comics is a great example of letting the creatives run amok. You don't want the creative people, I'm sorry, I say that as a creative person, running shit. They're terrible at it, okay? Each creative person is an independent business that needs to run themselves. So there, occasionally you'll get like, I'd be happy if Joe fucking Quesada came back to Marvel at this point, and that's saying something. But like, look who's running Doctor Who. Doctor Who is completely corporately run now. And it started out kind of free, and now it is all about just hitting a demo. It's that it's shot like a commercial now. Which, if you want an example of anything that's written that's are made just for demographics, and it's like a song that has to hit a certain beat, it's a commercial. That's what TV shows are now, right now. Da, 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 Tree Van Leaf. I like that. Following Game of Thrones has legit and the most anticlimactic fan experience of my life, rivaling only the Star Wars prequels, says Brandon Branders. Oh man, that's a sad reality that I have to come to terms with. That is prequel level in its disappointment. Yeah, that's why nobody watched our Game of Thrones recap, because if you go through it, I'm like trying to like it, and by the end, I'm just like I look over to Mrs. Nerdrotic. I'm like, I fucking hated that. I can't. It kills me to say that. I was upset. Because I was real. Oh God, yes, Mary. The way Littlefinger went out was, it was, I hated it. It was like he needed to go. That's how he needed to go. But it was the setup to it that was so not Littlefinger. If you get, so if you read the books, you get in the mind of Littlefinger. Littlefinger is like the bad guy. Like, he's the guy who's really kind of pulled off all this shit. And in the show, they try to pull it off that it's just chaos. In the books, it's something completely different. The plans of there's a good video out there. I don't know if Preston Jacobs, is that his name? He does he does the theory videos. Some of them are completely whack. Some of them, his Littlefinger one is pretty damn good. Look at the Preston Jacobs Littlefinger theory. Yes, I was happy to see him go the way he did, Mary, but what led up to it killed me. It was just like I mean, so you can tell at that moment, Mary, that George R. R. Martin has let them know, like, okay, this is where this character ends. This is where this character ends. It's up to you to get there. And they got there their own way, which is not what George would do. I think the last thing they mentioned George telling them that was actually from the book, that's a spoiler. And by the way, I'll put up my sign right now. This is a spoiler from Wins a Winner. So plug your ears. But Holdor at the door. That is from the books. That is going to be from the books. But everything down to John's resurrection and all that other stuff, I think it's going to be completely different in the book. Super chat, £5 from Michael Dignam. How are you? Thank you. Do you think the downward spiral of CBS is payback from Axanar? They certainly deserve it, Michael. Karma's a bitch. And isn't it weird how Axanar looked way too much like their show, and it was threatening their show? So they had to put a stop to it, which was something like, okay, maybe the guy was making a few bucks. He shouldn't have done that. But if if people are out there making stuff on your property, I would consider that the highest form of flattery, free marketing. And if it's within reason, I don't care. Like even George Lucas before Disney took over said like, "Hey, you can make Star Wars t-shirts as long as you don't make too much money. I'm not going to fuck with you." So, and it's like a low amount of money, but I think that's cool. I think that's agreeable because you really don't want to piss off your fans. And when CBS took over things, that's the first thing they did was fuck with the fans. So Michael, yeah, it's payback. It's karma payback. And oh, Karma's somebody I love. I love Karma. So Game of Thrones jumped the dragon. I think I actually used that term, Philip A. Dimmick. It did. And I hate to say that. It's not, I don't have fun doing that. I'm not like trying to shit on Game of Thrones. I love Game of Thrones. It was the first show we covered. Nobody watched, but and they're pretty bad. Don't go back and watch them. Following Game of Thrones, yeah, I already read that. Loved when Arya killed. Yeah, Arya had to be the one to do it, and I'm fine. But like Arya turning into Batman, and they like completely lost the plot with the faceless man. That's not where they were going with it. I mean, again, the end you saw, I think that's pretty much it. But what leads up to it is like Arya is a completely tragic story. All right. And I also think some of the writing, like Game of Thrones was free of all the political trends that were going on with writing. I'll be very careful with this, but it went Westworld season 2 on us before Westworld season 2. We'll just say that. Jon Snow bending the knee. And just like that. Nah. JP says Fear the Walking Dead is unwatchable. Well, that's what Dennis said. And honestly, I couldn't watch. I watched 5 minutes of it last night and I was like, that's me and superhero stuff. I'm just not into it. So it's movies are never, so the movies are never great to me. Just just personal taste. Yeah. I mean, if you're not into the men and women in tights, then you're not. And that's cool. What am I not into? I'm not really into zombies. They don't do anything for me. There is a couple great zombie, of course, Night of the Living Dead, and but Return of the Living Dead is my favorite zombie movie. Just not, yeah, zombies do zip for me. Oh, and I'm not into like GI Joe comics. I'm not into military stuff. Uh Unless it's like Starship Troopers. Then, if it's sci-fi, I'm into it, but I'm not really military. It's not like I'm anti-military or anything. I'm just not into it. Um I really dislike superheroes with X-Men with guns. I mean, I like the Punisher, but X-Men with mutants with guns is not, yeah, I've always had the unpopular opinion of not liking Cable or Forge. So, The Walking Dead never is a title so apt for that show nowadays. It's a show of it's a shadow of its former self. Yeah, I mean, walking's in the title. It's just walking around. And Curl, they killed Curl. Showman Frost movie from nobody. I understand it could be settled, but if there is a lawsuit filed, there has to be some move either way. It could be first pushed further or retracted. And that's crosstalk. So yeah, I agree with that. I don't know the context there, but yes, there a lawsuit has been filed. They have to make a statement at some point. Whether it's public or not is entirely up to them and entirely up to Anas Abdin, who again, please support him. Follow him on Twitter. Show your love. Check out his game. I'll put a link for that in the description. Again, this is a human being here that's being fucked with by a big company that doesn't need to do this. I mean, this does them no good. So I think they're being extremely fucking petty with this guy. And, honestly, at what Doomcock said, if they gave him a couple $100,000, I think, and like sign an NDA forever, I don't want to speak for him. But maybe it's not about the money for him. And if that's the case, then, whoo, man, I really got respect for him. But I still have respect for him. If he takes a bunch of money, fuck yeah, dude. Like, totally. I would do that. I'd shut the hell up, take a bunch of money, take care of my parents, use it to take care of my parents. Yeah. So no judgments either way. Do whatever you feel is right in us, whatever makes you happy is what we are cool with. Not that that needs to matter to you at all. It doesn't. Just know that we unconditionally support you, or I do anyway. And the tribunal. I'm pretty sure the tribunal does too. Um, but if I ever say anything for the tribunal, I do not speak for the tribunal. We all have separate opinions on stuff, so I don't want to sound like I'm some mouthpiece or I think I'm some mouthpiece. So yeah, try to come correct on that one. History repeats. Yes. Uh, okay, Liam, apology. Liam Hodgetts, what's STMU? It's probably something really obvious that I'm missing, but right, yeah, write that fully because I have no idea what that is. Apologies. I know that's from a chat way back. Okay, I'm gonna have to jump ahead a little bit. Again, if I miss something, just hit at Nerdrotic channel, repeat it. It's totally cool. I don't mind. Uh 64 likes, 111 viewers. Holy crap. I might get a little nervous now. Hope everybody welcome to the Nerdrotic channel. I am Gary. I talk a lot. I have a beard and I like avocados. And I like good TV and I dislike bad TV, especially Star Trek Discovery. We usually don't shit on a lot of stuff here, but Star Trek Discovery has it's irritated me enough. Oscar Isaac has been brought up. Yes, the Batman rumor. So the Batman rumor was Oscar Isaac had met with Warner Brothers to meet to be Batman, and then he came out and said, "I didn't meet Warner Brothers for Batman, but I think it's more of a let's try this name out for Batman." I think Matt Reeves wants him. I think there's a lot of reasons for that. Um, I think Oscar Isaac is a go-to guy right now. Don't have a problem with him as an actor. I think he's a pretty good actor. Honestly, if you want to say what's the best character of the new characters, he would be the best of that sad lot of new characters. I would say Poe Dameron. Of course, that was in Force Awakens. He was pretty awful in Last Jedi, but that was the writing. So Oscar Isaac as Batman, nah, no. Oscar Isaac as Nightwing, yes, absolutely, 100%. Not a Batman though, not unless he how tall is he? Batman's got to be 6'4", like 300 pounds, fucking bulked up, the human being at his peak physical condition. You can't get away with the Michael Keaton stuff anymore. It was fine in the 80s, but now we're on like our fifth or sixth Batman. It needs to start looking like Batman. Okay. So no, I don't think Oscar Isaac is a good choice. He's an adequate choice. If we have to have him, fine, but he'd be a much better Nightwing. So I satisfied that part in the I loved season 1 of Game of Thrones, but after that, I felt there was no more interest. And after played the Telltale games, I fucking hated it. This is Bird for an Axe Wielder. Yeah, I like the Telltale games, but I'm an idiot when it comes to gaming, so I'm the last person to ask about gaming because like those are the only games my old ass can play. And the other reason I don't game is I fucking suck at it. I don't have the dexterity. I don't know what it is. I was good at sports back when I gave a shit about those things, but like I fucking suck at video games. Everything about it. Like, yeah, I lose at Pong. I'm bad. Uh, Silver Spike echoes my thoughts on Doctor Who. Yeah, I adored Capaldi, but the writing sucked most of the time. It did. The only reason it was watchable was Capaldi's acting. Prelude to Axanar is magical, says Nyla Shadow. I could not agree more. I was only somewhat familiar with it. And then after our first couple recaps of Star Trek Discovery, we had people in the chat just going, watch Axanar, watch Axanar, watch Axanar. So I did. And Richard Hatch as that Klingon was so fucking badass. Yeah, that Axanar is badass. And I'm saying this honestly, the quality of acting and storytelling in just what I saw of Axanar is vastly superior to Star Trek Discovery. Star Trek Discovery might had some more money thrown at it to have maybe some a little better special effects, but the special effects, even if left the way they are in Axanar, I would take that over the garbage we've gotten with Star Trek Discovery. Yes, Gene bless Axanar. Uh what's this? Okay, Oscar Isaac is pushing. If you don't like it, go make your own narrative now. Hunky chunky funky monkey. So we're getting more of this bullshit of don't watch my stuff, don't buy my stuff, which is easy for the fucking actor who's already got his money to say, but there's still outlets that still need to make money out of stuff you're in, buddy. So shut your freaking pie hole is my answer to that. I really get triggered because a lot of comic artists and writers like to say that, and they're all paid for their work, and those retailers are not who are selling comics. And yeah, you know what? Just act. Okay. You're good at that. It doesn't sound like you're good at much else. So just stick with that. And you know what? Maybe a lot of us will do that. Maybe a lot of us will go make our own stuff. And yeah, you'll be out of a job. So save your money. I'll swing that all the way back to YouTube, how YouTube was not mentioned in that Disney streaming article, which is a big deal because it needs to be. And Twitch. Yep, Jen Molt says, yeah, the Axadar Prelude is better than the whole STD. It is. It is entirely better than all of it. Uh, do I want a sequel or a prequel to the Game of Thrones spinoff? Agent Future, I think, as much as I don't want to be into it, I'm totally into the prequel being the Long Night, and they won't be beholden to a book, and it depends who the creator is. Agent Future, if it's not Dan and Dave, which I don't think it is, it really depends on who's running that show. It needs to be somebody really good. But yeah, I'll check it out. But it can be a massive failure if you like, say if they hire a creator more on what that creator, I don't know, what that creator's, instead of finding the best creator possible, they'll try to check a box maybe with the creator, then the show's not going to do good. If they get the best creator possible, it might have a chance. And it depends. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if we see some freaking bad robot people coming in because they're freaking everywhere. Tim Curtis says 112 watching, 66 dislikes. Hey, I'll take dislikes too. It's engagement. 66 likes. Hey, thank you for 66 likes. That's great. I think the Game of Thrones subject really doesn't get talked about enough. I think I don't know if there's people, maybe it's just because it's been gone for so long and nobody's talking about it. And I know a bunch of people have talked about how much season 7 sucked, but I think that really needs to be brought up again a lot. It's too late now. That one's in the, 8 is in the can, but I think they did hear some of the criticism. But I think the interest in the show has gone down. I think it has actually gone down due to delay. I mean, you see some spoilers, but there's just, I'm not that interested in. I mean, I will watch it. Game of Thrones murdered Sean Bean. Talk about being unoriginal. Sean Bean gets killed in almost everything he's in. That's right, Nigel. Poor Sean Bean. The Return of the Living Dead is far better than Night of the Living Dead, in my opinion. Mecca could not agree more. That is why we're friends. Sean Bean didn't die in Silent Hill, says Nihilist Shadow, and he didn't die in his Frankenstein series in the first season either. I'm only into Shaun of the Dead, says Silver Spike. Yeah, I like that one too. I did. I forgot to mention that. I didn't like the idea of Axanar personally. I really don't like the idea of Star Trek that continuously focuses on Starfleet at war. That's not really true to Roddenberry, says Von Champ. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think. Well, it depends. We haven't seen the whole thing, so it's hard to judge it. I mean, I think it is interesting that we do hear about one war. I mean, we got the shaft when it came to the Dominion War. All right. And it's okay not to show the war, Foncham. Actually, back to Game of Thrones, George R. R. Martin does that all the time. We get the beginning of the battle and after the battle. He does do some battles, but we don't need to see every battle because honestly, it's just battle. We've seen that a lot. It's aftermath that we're concerned about and what led up to it. And I think the way it's styled is interesting, but I can understand if you're like a true blue Star Trek fan. And yeah, that doesn't, that's an argument that can be absolutely be made. Uh, I can't watch Walking Dead because there are too many questions, namely everything to deal with the virus. P.S. Aliens would have been a great answer, says Sean Full Dark. Yes. And that's what it was. Well, that's how it was pitched. To get it pitched, he pitched Aliens. He wasn't really going to do that. That's the thing that's always kind of stuck in my craw, which is we're never going to find out where the zombies came from. And then I'm like, well, then what's the fucking point? See, in Night of the Living Dead, they tell you right away. For one, the creepiest part of Night of the Living or Return of the Living Dead is the based on a true story that it comes out with. Uh, uh, Talk amongst yourselves. Like Game of Thrones could have been great if they had actually planned it out. They only had like 4 to 5 years of the books and got complacent. They should have planned it for the future, says Dakota Stanton. Could not agree more. The map out your seasons. They came to, I think they'll say that George screwed them, but they screwed themselves. Okay. I think they were relying heavily on Winds of Winter, but that's not the end of the fucking story. So you're going to make a show based on the books. There's a point where you can't rely that heavily on the books, especially if it's a series that's coming out. And if you do the math on the last few books, just the last 3 books he's done. So he wrote the first 3. All right. So it's Game of Thrones, A Clash of Kings, and A Storm of Swords. The third one, Storm of Swords, being the best by far. He wrote those pretty quickly within 6 years. He was building up to Game of Thrones for many, many years, but he put out those 3 pretty quickly, really solid books, really cohesive. And then that's when the trouble started. So guess we got A Storm of Swords in 2000, something like that. Yeah, 2000, 2001. Then he kind of went off the rails, and Feast of Crows and Dance of Dragons are the same book that he just split up. So he announced he was going to split this book up, and he was just in editing. It took him 5.5 years just to edit what he had already written. So it took him 5.5 years to edit what he already written. And after that with Dance of Dragons, like those stories were there. Now, he took out a bunch of Winds of Dance of Dragons and kicked that can down the road to the Winds of Winter. So he's already got, I think before the book even started, he had 3 or 4 chapters ready to go. And then there was the sample chapters that are out there, and there's upwards of 6 or 7 that are really good. Oh my God, the fucking Aaron, the Greyjoy one, the Forsaken chapter is my favorite chapter of any Game of Thrones book. Oh my God, it's so fucking dark and brilliant. So he's got, multiple chapters out there. I think he's close to finishing, to be honest. I think we will get it Winds of Winter by, I think next year, late next year. I don't think we're going to get it before Game of Thrones ends. And I think that's what he's been kind of quietly doing. Subconsciously, I think he just wants the show to go away. So he's not competing with the show. I think it is fucking with his writing. Also, he's made it really big over the last few years. And I think he's just been, enjoying it. I think George has just been enjoying being a rock star after years of not being one, of just being a nerd writer. And he's a nerd and he hasn't changed from it, but it's really kept him from, those wild card books come out all the fucking time. And I've given those a shot and I'm sorry. But yeah, Game of Thrones, man, kind of sad what's happened to it. And he writes slow, but this is fucking slow. And I can hear it now. We're going to see it in the comments. You're just being an entitled fan. My argument to that is, Yeah, I think, you're free to do what you want. I'm not telling you what you do, but you do make a silent promise of time. A lot of us have invested a lot of money and time into your story. I think you have a certain obligation to finish it. Now, his last interview was bad, where he talked about Robert Jordan and he talked about Tolkien, and he said Tolkien's in his mind, his definitive work was the Silmarillion, and he never got to finish that. So you read between the lines on that. It's like, oh, I want to finish, but I might not, and that's okay. And you know what? It's not. Have you done everything in your power to make sure you tried to finish that book, or have you just kind of done stuff? I mean, it's time to be honest and maybe just come out going, you know what? I'm not going to finish it and let somebody else finish it. I wouldn't care at this point. I wouldn't care. I'd rather see the end of the story. But I've just decided to divorce myself from it. I'm not gonna that new dragon book that's coming out in a couple months, not fucking buying it. Hell no. I'm not gonna support anything. And that falls under like I'm not gonna be a habitual buyer. I'm not gonna buy shit. Why would I buy the background of a story you're not gonna finish? Like, why would I buy that? Uh, uh, uh. Yeah, Doug 34, Walking Dead was a father and son story. Carl is dead, so that's it. Pretty much it. Sorry guys, got tied up with work. Had to mute Gary. Oh, movie Phenobi, how dare you? But for a bit, probably crosses Melissa's mind sometimes. Sometimes movie, sometimes all the time. By the way, how is the move going with the oldest boy? It is going well. Mrs. Nerdrotic drove Nerdrotic's son number one down to Southern California, where he is going to live. Um, and work and go to school. So, yeah, it's going well. And I'm doing a live stream to keep my mind completely off it. I mean, it's time for the birdie to fly. Believe me, he's 21. Time to get the fuck out. But, still, I like him. James O'Neill, Castle Rock rules. It does. Castle Rock has turned into a real TV show. I would love to talk to you about episode 7. So if you haven't seen it, I won't spoil it. But it centers around Sissy Spacek's character, and she is everything you expect out of Sissy Spacek. Just fucking great acting. Um, you'll get emotional at the end. It's one of the most fucked up stories I've seen on television. It's both equally beautiful and horrible, depending on what happens. But it really Castle Rock really hit its sweet spot. And I can honestly say it's a good show now. It's a really good show. Check it out. Last time I read all the GRM books, I did the chronological reading of Storms of Sword and Feast of Crows, and it still worked. Made me appreciate Feast more. Apple Crow, I have done that as well. And it is actually a better book. A lot of people are down on Feast, but if you read it in the order with Dance of Dragons, it really, really does make. They should have they should do that. They should if you want to re-release something, re-release that in order. The TV producers should have come up with their own ending after they let the books do their own thing, says Black Robin 71. Agreed. I mean, that's what they should have done. And you could do it in the spirit of the book. But it's obvious season 1 through 4 are pretty much the book. Okay, there's some differences and they're missing some characters, but it's the book essentially. You could tell when they're on their own and there's no net, and yeah, all of a sudden, you guys remember there was going to be 10 seasons of Game of Thrones, and then George announces he's not going to finish Wins a Winner, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, we're out, peace out, bye. STD makes Enterprise look like Shakespeare, says Michael Dynam. Yes, that is true. That is true. I gave up on wild cards in the middle of book 3, says Jesse Cicada Jr. Cicada. Yeah, I gave up on book 1. Waiting on the 3rd book and King Killer Chronicles. Talk about slow, says Doug 34. Liam Hodgett says, gonna check out, guys, next time. Take care, Liam. Thanks for popping in. I appreciate it. Really do appreciate it. Yeah, we're getting around close time here. It's been a couple of hours. I've got more podcasting to do, and wow, this a fucking Nurkish come in. That like I feel that's I mean, I was honored. So I'm sorry if I didn't say that sooner, and I know he's long gone, but man, thank you for popping in, Nurkish. It was good to see you. Um, Nurkish is funny as hell, but not for everybody. Nurkish is what comedians should be doing now, but they're not. And he pushes the envelope and pushes it past way past any acceptable line of decency or anything else. But that's what comedy should be. That's what free speech should be. So I fully support Nurkish in his craziness and funniness. But watch out. um and yeah, so like bye everybody, and thank you for putting up the schedule. Move Finobi Sailing Coconut. You survived a hurricane. I'm glad you survived a hurricane. I'm going to read a couple more chats here. I'm going to get my Patreon video going, and I'll put up the right one this time, Movie Finobi. I promise. And I'll read a few more chats. So we got a few more minutes here. A few more minutes to go as I share my own video, YouTube. So there you go. STD makes Curious George seem like Shakespeare. Exactly. Like, share, and subscribe. No singing, says Philip A. Demick. Yeah, that's the double meaning. You just don't want to hear my singing, for one. Gary, Neurotic schedule right here, right there. Move Finobi put in our website, nerdrotic.com. That's the schedule. We're doing Better Call Saul tonight, if you're watching that show. If any like hot news comes out, then I'll do a video. I'll pop out and do a video. And Tuesday we have Castle Rock Tuesday night late 10:15. Oh yes, Sailing Coconut, the Hawaiian hurricane. I heard about that. I'm glad you survived, and your internet survived too. What island are you on, Sailing Coconut? Are you on Big Island or Maui, or where are you at? Oh, thank you very much, Sayquist. He says, fantastic stream. Well, fantastic chat. Like, you guys make it. Finobi is the best. Always on the ball. Really is, Finobi. Movie Finobi is the best. He and Viking Bitch have turned into like show producers. Yeah. So those are all the wonderful patrons that you saw in there. Oh yeah, it goes down when you end Movie Finobi. They don't want to hear all the credit. So nerdrotic.com. Thank you all the patrons. Thank you for everybody who was in the chat today. And yeah, check out our Patreon, but definitely also we're on Twitter. Dennis is at DeForce. I am at Nerdrotics. Our next show is a little bit later with Better Call Saul. And thank you again, everybody in the chat. You are wonderful. Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey. It's good to see you. Doug 34, Mary Ashmead, Sailing Coconut. Yes, I thank everybody in the chat. I'll do the best I can. Sayquist, Jin Moulton, Lemac Ajax, Nurkish, Tree Van Leaf, Movie Finobi, of course, Doug 34, Random, Mecha Random 42, Philip A. Demick, Penn Farm Girl, Ghost Bear 177, Apple Crow, Matthew Davies, Sean Full Dark, Morks, Your God is Nowhere. Your God can't hear you now. Troy Aldrich, JD Free Reality, or JDF Reality. The Sailing Coconut, Liam Hodgetts, who had to bail out, Jesse Cicada Jr., Bishop Pax, Nyla Shadow, Snowman Frost, Black Robin 71, and Mary Ashmead, Stanley H. Tweedle, Silver Spike. Silver Spike 1, of course, the wonderful Silver Spike. And I think that's as high as I can go. So if I missed anybody, Rex Sharp, Agent Future. Oh, yes, I can't forget to do this either. The super chats. We must thank the super chats. This will be the last thing before we bail out. Movie Fanobi for $2. Tamarok's Minister of Dark Magics. Thank you again for the 2 super chats of $20 and $10. Very generous. Thank you, fellow minister and fellow legionnaire. Hail Doomcock. Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey, 5 pounds. Saquist, 2 super chats, $5 and $10. Feisty Fan, the wonderful Feisty, my friend, Feisty Fan, $4.99. Thank you. Mary Ashmead. She's got the wrench. She's got the long hair. She's got the talent. She's one of the best people in the chat. You're all the best people in the chat, but she is here she does not miss a stream, folks. Her and Movie Fanobi are like here all the time. I can't. I'm so grateful for that. Mary Ashmead, $2 super chat. The great James O'Neill, £5 super chat. First time in the chat. Thank you. Welcome. Good. I hope we see you again. Michael Dynam, $5 super chat. Thank you again. You guys are wonderful. I'll see you soon. Have a great day. And may the small folks sing songs of your greatness. Ciao.